Hello everyone, welcome to the NGP School's Expert Talk series. We, the members of the editorial board, Vaibhav,
Nakshatra
and Vedika
are here today to talk you through the NGP's Expert Talk on the topic Careers in Journalism. We are joined by an incredible expert, Ms. Ashwati Ashokan, the founder of Mind Blooms, an organization with a mission to empower students. Ms. Ashwati holds a master's in journalism and communication. Her career commenced in journalism as a news correspondent for the Times of India in Coimbatore. In this role, she was instrumental in creating engaging content for the student community and providing platforms for young writers to showcase their talents. Transitioning from journalism, Ms. Ashwati became a certified soft skills trainer focusing on holistic education. She has collaborated with over 100 educational institutions, impacting more than 5,000 children by conducting workshops and training sessions that emphasize time management, goal setting, critical thinking, and confidence building.
Congratulations, ma'am, on your incredible works. Welcome to this show, ma'am. It's such a pleasure to have you with us. Before we talk about careers in journalism, could you tell us about your journey from being a journalist to becoming a life skills trainer?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. It feels really good to be interviewed by a great team of students. So, to tell about my journey from journalism to life skill training, it had been a roller coaster ride. So, basically, I am in the field of media for past 6+ years. So during my stint as news correspondent with the Times of India Coimbatore, so I basically handle the students edition of Times of India. So my work involves like major of my interaction happens with children from across like Kongu region. So during my interaction with students and plus my personal experience of not knowing proper English, being bullied in school for not being able to speak English, all these put together, I realized that though schools are preparing kids to crack all the competitive exams, somewhere there is a gap where children are not prepared for life after school or say life after college, because today's market demands skill sets, and if you are not having those skill sets which is required by the market today, definitely getting a job or being an entrepreneur, whatever it is, being successful is really difficult. So my major focus was on public speaking because that's the skill that I lacked. So that's how I started my training, like life skill training. I underwent a training for like life skills course in Mumbai. So I did a 1 year training course there. From past 3+ years, I am into this field. So from journalism to life skill training, journey was a roller coaster ride, but I'm really happy with what I'm doing because every day when I meet kids and when I take a session for them, after the session when they come back and say, ma'am, after your session, this was the thing I did differently. So I think that's where I am today. And really it was just because I think students today require skill sets which somewhere in schools it's lacking. So that's how I ended up into this.
That's an amazing journey, ma'am. You worked with the Times of India as an editor. As a journalist, how did it shape your approach to becoming a life skills trainer, ma'am?
Okay, so as I said, working with students, because day in day out when they write articles, I publish the articles, I edit it, and all these things I was doing. So day in day out, my interaction had been with children. So when apart from getting articles from them, a lot of time they come up with queries, a lot of time they come up with like problems, like I'm not sure what should I do after my 12th standard. I want to pursue something in sports, but my parents are against it. I don't have a vision in life. I don't know what do I do. So all these things somewhere, like I think that was the spark inside me. And also once I was called to school to talk about journalism. So I was an expert speaker like this. So I was called to that school where I had to address students. I think that was a turning point. And being a journalist and being knowing the market well, the education sector well, I think that's how this happened. So the approach towards life skill training started there.
Ma'am, amazing works as a life skills trainer. In connection with your reply, let me go ahead with the next question. Ma'am, you worked with one of the biggest names in media, the Times of India. Could you share what it was like to report on stories that inspired students and educators alike?
Okay, so basically, my work involves with education sector. So I am not like a mainstream reporter who reports on day-to-day happenings. So my work basically involves to report the events that happen in school, to showcase the achievers in the school. So every time, whenever I get an article from the school, it will be very basic language. We have certain protocols, so I edit those articles and publish it. So when an article of a child comes with a photograph, and when they call you back and tell, ma'am, thank you so much, it will add value to my portfolio when I pass out of the school. I think that has been the biggest inspiration, or that has been the biggest takeaway for me from journalism. And educators, as I say, it's a when we interview educators, it's a portal for them to tell what are the practices they follow in school, or their approach towards education, what is needed today, what is the message for the students. So that's how it has been. And one more thing I would like to add here is that when each child, they call me and tell that, ma'am, this is the first time I'm writing an article that has come into paper, I think that kind of gives me happiness.
Ma'am, it's very much evident that you've had some memorable moments as a journalist. For students who are considering a career in journalism, what skills or qualities do you think are essential to thrive in this field,
Okay.
ma'am?
So, with respect to journalism, the basic quality you must have is writing skills. So, you must be really good in writing, because we have so many publications today with the online media coming up. Every other person who has a smartphone is a journalist. So, what makes you stand apart in journalism? How creative you are in reporting stories. So, there'll be major media houses. Each one will be reporting on the same story, but based on the title that you give, based on the content that you write, is where your story will stand out. So main thing I would say is writing skills are really important when it comes to journalism. If you are planning to pursue journalism, you must be well read. You cannot have half baked knowledge about everything. So you can't be jack of all trades but master of none. You must be knowing everything. Third one I would say is that you should be very much observant about the surrounding. Like you should be able to grasp things that's happening around you, because as a journalist, if you are handling crime bit, it's not that you will handle only crime bit. There'll be days when you have to handle education sector. There'll be days when you have to work with corporation. There'll be days when you have to work with industrial. So you must be knowledgeable in all the fields. At least a basic knowledge of what's the current scenario, what's happening in the market. You must be aware of that. I think these three skills, if you have the knack of picking up stories, I think you are good to go in the field of journalism.
That's really insightful, ma'am. Journalism today is so different from what it was a decade ago. With the rise of digital media and evolving technology, what advice would you give to young, aspiring journalists on staying relevant in this dynamic field, ma'am?
Okay. So advice, I will not say advice per se, but youngsters who are actually, you people are the youngsters. One thing I would like to tell you is that please pick up the paper and read. The first thing. So you are telling the changing face of media. Yes, digital. As I said, everybody with a smartphone is a journalist today. So as youngsters, first, if you want to become journalist, if you don't want to become journalist, that's secondary. But first thing, whenever you come across any news, kindly fact check it, because we have seen in numerous incidents where without fact checking, the news will get circulated, and how chaotic it becomes to settle down that news. So being in print, the one thing we would advise youngsters is that yes, digital media is there, you are there on Instagram, you are there on Facebook, you are there on all the social media platforms, but when you come across some information, please use your critical thinking skills to check, is it coming from a legible source, is it authentic, who has given this news, and all these things you must actually consider before sharing something online, because you are the gadget native. So you are with the gadgets, you are bombarded with information day in day out. So please use your critical thinking skills then and there when you come up with, or when you share something online. And it's not easy. So the paper you hold in hand, I know a lot of youngsters don't read paper today, but still, when you hold a paper in hand, always remember that there was a person out there on the ground, be it a riot field, be it a war zone, whatever it is. He has taken a lot of effort, the entire team, to put that news on the paper. So when you see a paper, kindly pick it up and try to read it. So this is what will be my advice to the next generation. Yes, but there's a print is always powerful. They always say that no matter how many digital media comes, print is always powerful, because whatever comes in print is 100% fact checked. There's no factual errors, and whatever you read is legible. So you can't vouch that for the online media.
Thank you, ma'am, for such valuable advice. Before we end, could you share a quick tip on how life skills such as public speaking or goal setting can complement a career in journalism and help students achieve their dreams, ma'am?
Okay, so the skills that you mentioned, this is not only applicable for journalism, but no matter whatever field you want to pursue, you want to become a doctor, you want to become an engineer, you want to become an entrepreneur, whatever it is. If you would have read a recent tweet by Elon Musk, he had mentioned that I want hardcore software. I want a hardcore software engineers. I want hardcore coders. I don't care where you studied. I don't care what is your mark. I don't care what is your percentage. I just want to see your code. So this is how we are moving forward in the market. So as youngsters, you must understand that no matter how good you are in academics, you might be a university topper, you might be a school topper, you might be a subject topper. But when you sit for an interview, the first thing that the interviewer will ask you is that, why should I hire you? So there, not your marks, not your academic score, not your university, the score is not going to help you. The only skill that's going to help you there is your communication skill. So I might be really talented, but if I don't know how to put across that talent, or I don't know how I will tell about my talent, I don't think so the talent is going to be of any use for you in the future. So all the skills, as you said, goal setting, public speaking, communication skills, body language, all these skills are really important going forward in a market where AI is ruling. Because if you want to be indispensable in a position, you must have soft skills. So soft skills is comprises of all the skills that you mentioned right now. So you want to become a journalist, you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to become a leader, whatever it is, these skills are really important. Other hard skills, you can learn it on the job, be it coding or whatever it is. But soft skills right now, like I would suggest always, right from sixth standard, if you are equipping yourself with those skills, your transition from college to workplace or school to college becomes very much easier, and the pressure is a bit less. You can focus on developing your hard skills. I hope I have answered your question.
Thank you so much, Ashwati ma'am, for sharing your experiences and inspiring us to think deeply about journalism and life skills.
And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring discussions. See you next time on the NGP School's Expert Talk series.